The following program contains coarse language and references to sexual conduct and drug use. Viewer discretion is advised. Tonight, stand-up comedian Stephen K Amos talks about comedy and cocaine. Hi and welcome to Gay Talk tonight. I'm Andrew Whiteside. My guest is British comedy legend Stephen K Amos. He's currently in New Zealand as part of the annual comedy festival.
Look around the room, pretty lady, pretty lady. It's a joke.
Stephen K Amos is a comedian and actor with a strong presence on stage and television. He's toured the world extensively and is currently in New Zealand performing his one-man show, The Spokesman. Stephen, welcome to the program. Really great to have you here. Now, you're here for the comedy festival and your show is The Spokesman. So what can we expect? What are you bringing to us this time?
What am I bringing to you? Well, thank you for having me, first of all, but on a basic level, The Spokesman is quite simply an anagram of my name. Stephen K Amos, The Spokesman. End of story. That's it. But what it actually inspired it is the fact that I was watching the news one day and there was this item about some person, famous person who'd done something wrong, and instead of that person coming out and saying something, a spokesman reading a prepared statement spoke on this person's behalf. And I was thinking, actually, this is quite a common thing, the spokesman or a friend of or a source close to defending or telling us things we're meant to believe. And I wondered, what do these people do the rest of the year, these spokespeople? And do they only ever come out rising like phoenixes from the ashes to deliver a statement apologizing for something? So it got me thinking about who would be my spokesman, my role model, who would I be a good spokesperson for?
So why comedy? When did you first know you were funny?
Why comedy? I never knew I was funny, but I think if you come from a large family, you've got to do anything to get attention. And one of the things I used to do was tell tales, in other words, lie. Just do anything just to get attention. And also, I grew up in a time in London where there weren't that many black people, for example, in my neighbourhood. And so with the school I went to, as opposed to being the odd one out for being black, you thought, right, okay, I'm not going to have anyone talk to me about that. Instead, I'll just maybe throw a joke in there or do a silly voice. So I didn't realise I was funny. If anything, it was maybe a defence mechanism.
Well, that's the thing about comedy, though, isn't it? Because it is very powerful. Yes, it can be self-deprecating or in order to get you through an awkward situation or a tough situation. But it can also be used to show, particularly in politics, how ridiculous people are being. So it is very powerful.
I think it's absolutely very powerful. It's the only medium that I can think of where if you've got a live, captive audience, you can say whatever it is you want to say. Because I firmly believe in freedom of speech, but I also believe in freedom of expression. So if I say something that maybe someone in the audience objects to, that's their right, but I want to be able to know that I can justify what I say. And if I see or hear a politician being quite hypocritical, I feel it's my right to pick up on it. Or if I hear or see something, I think it's my right to take that thing to the most illogical conclusion just to show how ridiculous it can be.
Is there anything taboo for you in comedy that you wouldn't say, an area you wouldn't go?
For me, I don't think so. I don't think anything is taboo, but the only thing I would like to think is that I wouldn't, like, if there's a tragedy, you know, I think timing is very much of the essence. If there is something maybe religious or something that a lot of people are kind of holding on to, unless I've got a really clever take on it or a really a good twist that makes sense and it's logical, then I'll say it.
So it's not about being cruel, it's actually about finding the humour in those situations.
For me, my comedy is not about being cruel. There are other comics out there who use that thing of being a shock, which again I respect, because if it makes people kind of go, what, he said that, and we have a debate about it, great. Because I think there's nothing worse than people pretending things aren't happening, or like, if you see a comedian use a buzzword and some words makes people just go, what? Like if you say Muslim, or if you say dwarf, or if you say rape, or if you say nigger, if an audience member doesn't listen to the joke, the whole joke, but just hears that buzzword, they're like, what? He can't say that. Listen to the joke. All my comedy is based on truth, by the way, so I don't really make things up for the sake of it. And I'm not one of these people who's fame hungry and will, do it. If I was that fame hungry, I'd be doing this interview with me cock out erect.
Well, there's still time. Yeah, actually I could do with the ratings, so, please feel free.
I hosted a music awards in London about 4 years ago, and it's a music event. And one of my opening lines was, "Oh my God, look at all these musicians." Now, come on, be honest. Who here has the cocaine? The next day, I got a phone call from my agent. You were demanding cocaine at the... What? This newspaper, the Sunday newspaper, want to run a story about you were demanding cocaine on stage. I went, is it a slow news day? Again, it's in context.
It must be good for publicity, though. I mean, it keeps your profile up.
And I'd rather my profile was up for, for the job that I'm doing and the jokes and the fact that I'm making people laugh, not by something that was taken out of context. If I was a cocaine fiend, the last thing I'd do is publicly at a music event say, "Who's got cocaine?"
So basically, people can't take a joke.
It's a joke. Although, if anyone watching this has cocaine, please get in touch. I'm on Twitter.
Obviously, you're a gay man, and...
Am I?
Apparently so.
Who told you that?
I've read it on a wall somewhere.
On a wall with my
Yes.
number there?
Yeah, absolutely, it was. Right next to mine. So,
That's why we're here, right?
exactly. Now, you came out on stage in 2006 in the Edinburgh Festival, I believe, and that was in response to a friend of yours who'd been killed.
Well, do you know what? Actually, what happened was...
Have I just read that completely? Have I just made that story up?
No, I mean, people have interpreted it in that way, but that, for me, that wasn't what happened, because I've never hidden who I am to my friends and family. I just didn't think it was particularly relevant on stage unless I had something to say about it. And then I was actually doing a tour in Australia quite a few years ago now. I think it was 2005. And I got back home to London, I put the news on, and it was an item about somebody who was killed in a homophobic attack in a park near where I live. And I glanced up and they showed a picture of the person, and it was somebody that I knew. And that really, really incensed me to the point that I just thought, oh my God, in London, which I thought was a very cosmopolitan, sort of, forward-thinking city, that there are still people out there, which still happens around the world, who think it's okay to physically hurt somebody else to the point of death because of what they perceive to be their sexuality. And I thought, I'm gonna address this in my next show, and that's what I did. And for me, it wasn't a coming out thing, but it was me kind of going, because people assume lots of things. People assume because I wear a wedding ring that I'm married. People assume because I don't particularly fall into the stereotype of a typical gay man, whatever that may be, that I'm this macho guy who's got, 6 girlfriends around the globe and whatever. And so I thought, actually, I'm going to challenge that by just telling people, oh, and by the way, I'm also attracted to men. And it was quite an eye-opener, because the press after that were like, oh my God, he's come out on stage. And it really wasn't like that for me.
Do you have any thoughts about what it takes to have a happy, successful, or fulfilled kind of life?
Oh, a happy, successful... I'd like to think that peace of mind is more important than anything. If you are lucky enough to have somebody or people in your life, be it family, friends, or a partner that love you, then, I mean, there's nothing beats that, because a good support group is what's important. I can do this job for the next 5 years, and because I don't really get to see a lot of my family, because I'm on tour quite a bit. I'm a single man, so you can have all the adulation you can have on stage, and but then you come off stage and then you go home alone, and that's how I can see some comics getting depressed and quite sad. So for me, it's just the love and peace of mind.
Stephen K. Amos, thank you for coming. Been fantastic.
Thank you very much indeed. So basically, I'm looking for love. So again, if anyone out there has got cocaine and love in abundance, bring it on. And if you can't see that's a joke, you're a fucking idiot.
Well, that's another edition of Gay Talk tonight. I'll see you again very soon.